We crop distractions out of photos, add filters to bring out beauty, and enhance the details to make an image pop. But what if we did the same with our lives? Cropping out negativity and the things that drain you, filtering your perspective through gratitude, humor, and compassion, or enhance your everyday with small, intentional choices that help you shine. Your life doesn't need to be picture perfect. It just needs to be lived with focus, clarity, and joy. Hey friends, welcome back. Welcome aboard this little dinghy of ours. I'm so glad you pressed play today. Whether you're listening while walking the dog, driving to work, folding laundry, or just taking a quiet moment for yourself, thank you for choosing to spend this time here with me. And if someone shared this episode with you, then thank them for seeing something in you and offering up a little nudge, a little ray of light in your day to say they care. Today's conversation is built around something we see a lot of every day, especially if you're on any social media platforms, and that's cropping, filtering, and enhancing. With all of these social media platforms and phones that are basically little recording studios, this got me thinking that those tools we use on social media shouldn't just be for pictures. We live in a world where we take photos and videos all the time, right? On our phones, at events, on vacations, even of our meals. And we all know how easy it is to crop out what we don't want in the frame. Slap on a filter that makes the colors pop, or enhance the lighting just a little bit so the image looks better. And there's even that cool cleanup button on phones now, so you can just tap a spot and the phone magically removes what was there and puts in what you want to complete the picture. So I've been thinking, what if we started to apply that same idea, not just to pictures, but to our lives? What if we got intentional about what we're cropping out, like negativity, toxic voices, habits that weigh us down, things that just no longer serve us? What if we learned how to filter, not to hide or fake things, but to filter life through a more positive light, to see life with more beauty, humor, and compassion? And what if we made enhancements, not pretend that we're perfect by any means, but to make little tweaks that actually improve our lives in real, tangible ways? So that's what we're going to chat about today. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's talk about cropping, filtering, and enhancing, not just for your camera roll, but for your heart and for your life. So let's start with cropping. You know how when you take a picture, there might be something distracting in the background? Maybe your kids' toys are all over the place, or there's a stranger walking by in the distance, or your finger's just barely covering the corner of the lens. So what do? You crop it out. You cut out what doesn't belong, what distracts from the focus, what takes away from the beauty of the moment. So what if we treated our lives the same way? Sometimes we let so many distractions into the frame of our lives that the main thing gets lost. And sometimes we don't even realize they are distractions because it sometimes feel like they've been there all along. They've been part of that picture all along. And they probably have. You've let things into your life that are just there, but in the long run, they take away from the big picture. They take away from the joy, the peace, the gratitude, the love, because there's too much extra that's unnecessary, and it all gets cluttered by noise, negativity, and unnecessary drama. So just like a picture, when something is in the frame that takes away from the picture, you crop it out. So how would that look if you wanted to crop things out in real life? Here's some examples. You can start by setting boundaries with people who drain your energy. There's no reason they need to be in your immediate view. So setting these boundaries helps to crop out the people that are energy vampires. You start saying no to commitments that don't align with your values, that don't move you forward, or that don't help you create your own big picture. Maybe you start removing yourself from environments that bring out the worst in you. I mean, you get rid of those 9 other shots you took of yourself and you keep the best one. So keep the best environments, get rid of the rest that don't help you be your best self. And maybe you start letting go of habits and thought patterns that no longer serve you. You crop that crap out because it does nothing but hold you back and will not lead you to the life you've imagined, the life you're building, the life you deserve. Cropping isn't about rejecting everything or cutting everyone out. Just like in a photo, the crop is about focus. It's about asking yourself, what do I actually want in the frame? What matters most? What's distracting me from what's truly beautiful? And I'll be honest, cropping isn't always easy. Sometimes what you need to crop out is something that feels comfortable or familiar, even if it's not healthy. Sometimes it means letting go of a relationship, a job, a routine, or even an identity that you've held onto for a long time, because even though it's no longer working, it's still comfort. It's what you know. But sometimes you have to crop things out to allow space for other things to fit in your frame. Every time you crop, you create space for clarity. You bring the focus back to what matters most. And often you discover that the picture of your life was beautiful all along. You just needed to cut out the noise and take a step back to really be able to see it. So now let's talk about filters. Now, I know filters get a bad rap sometimes. We think of them as fake, as hiding imperfections, or trying to be something we're not. And yes, filters can be misused and overused. But if you've ever used a good one, you know they can also bring out the beauty that was already there, but maybe you didn't see it or didn't pay attention to it. They can highlight the light, soften the shadows, and show a perspective you might not have noticed otherwise. So, what would it mean to add filters to your life? Not to hide who you are, but to help you see things more clearly, more beautifully, more generously. So, let's talk about some filters that you can apply to your everyday life. Maybe a gratitude filter that can help you notice what's good all around you, even on ordinary days. Maybe a humor filter can help you laugh at those small annoyances instead of letting them ruin your day and prevent you from being so pissy pants. Maybe a compassion filter that can help you see others with understanding instead of judgment, including yourself. And maybe see it more with grace and kindness that we're all trying to do our best. Or maybe a hope filter can help you look at challenges as possibilities instead of dead ends, as opportunities instead of roadblock, and feed your motivation to keep moving forward. When you change the filter, you don't change the scene. You change the way you see it, the way you look at things. So here's an example. Have you ever had one of those days where everything seems to go wrong? The traffic's bad, you spill your coffee, your to-do list is a mile long, and nothing feels easy. Without a filter, that day just feels heavy. But what if you used a gratitude filter? Maybe you start to notice, hey, I actually had a car to sit in during the traffic, and I can use this time and listen to a podcast. Maybe learn about cropping and filtering. And maybe that gratitude filter helps you see that your partner was nice enough to have coffee ready for you. Okay, it spilled, but it was made with love. And maybe with a gratitude filter, my to-do list. Well, I have the chance to tackle things that matter. So you see, that filter doesn't erase the hard stuff. It doesn't take things out of the picture. It changes the way you experience it, the way you see the picture. So much of our peace in life comes from not changing what's happening, but from changing how we see it. And that's what filters are for. Now let's talk about enhancements. When you're editing a photo, sometimes you brighten the exposure, sharpen the image, or increase the contrast just a little bit. You're not trying to make it fake. You're just bringing out the best in what's already there, making it a little brighter, adding a pop of color. Enhancements in life works the same way. They're the small changes, and that's what we're all about here. The small choices and tweaks that bring out your best self. So what small enhancements can look like in our life? What can we do? Maybe drinking more water and getting enough sleep so you have energy. Maybe reading books or listening to podcasts that nourish your mind. Maybe spending time in nature to recharge your mind, your spirit, and your body. Practicing mindfulness so that you're more present in your own life. Or surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and inspire you. Enhancements aren't about perfection. They're not about creating some glossy, curated version of life. They're about making small, intentional changes that enhance your well-being and help you thrive. And enhancements aren't usually dramatic. It's the subtle changes that can make a picture go from, hey, nice shot, to, oh my gosh, that's an amazing photo. So just like a slight brightness adjustment can completely change a photo, small changes in your habits, your routines, your mindset can create big results over time so that you can go from an okay life to a purposeful, intentional, beautiful life. Now, you might be wondering, why does this all matter? Why talk about cropping, filtering, and enhancing life? Because too often we let life just happen to us. We forget that we have tools. We forget that we're the ones that have the power to shape what's in the frame, how we see it, and how we show up. We are the photographers, the editors, and the producers of our lives. We get to control how we see it, how we respond to it, and how and where we move it. So think about it this way. If you never crop, your life gets cluttered with things that don't matter. If you never filter, your perspective can get weighed down by negativity. And if you never enhance, you stay stagnant instead of growing. But when you start to intentionally crop, filter, and enhance, you begin to create a life that feels lighter, clearer, more beautiful. You're not faking it. You're not hiding behind a make-believe image. You're actually living with more focus, more joy, and more intentionality. And of course, just like with photo editing, there's traps we can fall into by doing too much of these three changes. When we overcrop, sometimes we cut out too much. We isolate ourselves. We shut down opportunities, or we cut off people who actually do care about us. Remember, the point of cropping is to find focus, not enforce loneliness. And sometimes we add too much fake filtering. If you use filters to pretend everything's fine when it's really not, you're not helping yourself. Remember our talk a few weeks ago about asking for help when you really need it. Healthy filters bring out the truth. They don't cover it up. They allow us to be vulnerable. And then finally, unrealistic enhancements. If you're constantly trying to fix yourself with enhancements, you can fall into perfectionism, which is unattainable and can rob you of the good that you've already achieved. Remember, enhancements are about progress, not perfection. The key to all of this is balance. Use these tools with intention, not obsession. So how can we start applying this idea today? Well, maybe start with cropping a little bit in the morning. Before you start your day, ask, what's one thing I can remove from my mental frame today? Maybe it's avoiding doom scrolling first thing in the morning. Maybe it's saying no to one unnecessary task so you feel less overwhelmed. And how about a midday filter? When something feels frustrating or when something frustrating happens, pause and ask, what filter can I apply? Can I apply gratitude? Can I look at it from a sense of humor? What if I apply a little compassion to the situation, even if it's just compassion for myself? And maybe end the day with an evening enhancement by asking, what's one small thing I can do tomorrow that would enhance my well-being? Maybe it's going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's texting a friend to talk about your day or find out how theirs was. Those tiny shifts, small changes, when practiced consistently and with purpose, can change the entire way you experience your days. When we talk about cropping, filtering, and enhancing, it's not about creating a fake version of life. It's not about pretending your life is perfect or Instagram worthy. It's about realizing that you are the photographer, the producer of your own story. You get to choose what stays in the frame. You get to choose the lens you see through. You get to choose the small enhancements that help you shine. And while the real picture, the unedited, unfiltered, sometimes messy, sometimes beautiful picture of your life is already enough, these tools just help you live that beautiful life with more clarity, intention, and joy. So as you go about your week, as you start intentionally looking through the lens of your life, I want you to be purposeful, to take time to reflect and ask yourself, what do I need to crop out? What filter will help me see this moment better? What small enhancement could make my life lighter and brighter? So thank you for spending this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, maybe share it with someone who might need it too. Maybe text them the link or post it to your story, because you never know who's waiting for that little nudge, just like you might have gotten, that little reminder that their life too is beautiful. And with a few edits, a few minor changes, they will begin to see the beauty that you see in them. Thank you again for being part of this community, and let's keep it going. Let's keep cropping out the negativity, Keep filtering in the positivity. Keep enhancing what is already good in your life. And let's keep helping each other to see the beauty all around us, to find more peace. Let's help each other to see the way forward in this crazy world, little by little and piece by piece. This podcast is based on my own life experiences. I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, psychiatrist, or any other licensed medical professional. Please share this podcast with anyone you think needs to hear this so that we all move forward, little by little and piece by piece. And thank you, Purple Planet, for sharing your music.